paint, not just on rebounds, but throughout the gameplay. They figured him out. And just as much as the Knicks were intimidated of Wemby being in the paint, was Wemby being intimidated of taking it into the paint. I was talking with my son about like what legends he should reach out to for mentorship and coaching over the summer, right? And Tim Duncan is right in his backyard, you know what I mean? But I felt like a good look, David Robinson, those strong. He needs a strong big. You know what I'm saying? These finesse bigs like KG. Olajuwon was pretty tough in the era he came up in. He had to be tough, but he was more finesse though. You know what I'm saying? Especially with his footwork. Olajuwon is legendary for his footwork. But I feel like the bigs that he needs to get tutelage under would be those strong bigs like David Robinson, Shaq, and Yao Ming. And I say Yao Ming for the simple fact that Shaq gave Yao Ming his props for being one of his toughest bigs to play against on offense and on defense. So yeah, there's some input that Yao Ming could give him, but the boy really got you 7'5" in the NBA, you got the world in your palms. You know what I'm saying? And in your second year, after your rookie season, you know what I'm saying, you make it to the finals. Like, yeah, you go in places. I think he's guaranteed one. I think he's really guaranteed one. You know what I mean? That's enough of the Wemby dick riding. I want to talk about the Spurs, and then I want to talk about the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? I feel like somebody left us an envelope under De'Aaron Fox's door, on his hotel door, with pictures of his kids going to school or something. Because, like, come on, son. The shots he was taking good shots. Some shots he was taking were good, like towards the third and the fourth quarter. Some of the shots were good. Some of the shots were wide open, and it just would not fall. It just would not fall, and he would just take shot after shot, and I'm just like, yo, is he the resident shooter on the team? Like, oh, hell no. What is he doing? He just kept taking shots, and once again, this is the Wemby killer. Like, they figured out how to control him on the boards, on the boards. In that game 4 sequence, when you see that Maldonado, what's the guy's name? I don't know if his name is Maldonado, but the Spanish dude on the Knicks, the Dykeman dude. You know what I mean? The way he was boxing him out. You know what I'm saying? And boxing him out and tripping him up. You know what I mean? It was a sight to see. But they figured out how to control the boards against somebody like that. You know what I mean? And it showed. And it showed because every time the Spurs shot and they would miss, you know what I'm saying? Some way, somehow, the Knicks would figure out a way to get that rebound or to get a turnover from the rebound. You know what I mean? I want to get to the Knicks, but Robinson, the OG Nick. There's a reason they didn't trade him. I'm gonna get to that. But so somebody left a letter under De'Aaron Fox's door. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what happened. I don't know where he was at. Oh, I don't know. He forgot how to shoot. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was. Game 5, Castle was non-existent. I think he had less single digit points the entire game. What? Like, no. Oh, hell no. You know what I'm saying? You 4th overall pick in your second year. And this is in this crunch time, this is what you bring to the table. Now, granted, he's young, and I don't know how long can we keep using the young label? How long can we do that? You know what I mean? Because how long is he going to be young and inexperienced? You in the finals, bro. You experienced. Here's your experience. Congratulations. You see what I'm saying? Like how long can how's that going to work? How's that going to work? But nonetheless, he was pretty non-existent game 5. That, you know what I'm saying? He was pretty non-existent. He had that one put back at the end. He did his thing on that one. But maybe the game plan was different for game 5, and maybe he was just trying to see where he fit in. But it seemed like they were playing hot potato a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? They were just trying to rotate the ball and find that open guy along the arc to get that 3 off. You know what I mean? That's what it looked like to me, but that just wasn't working. And they did get a lot of shots off. Some of their bench players, or some Harper, Like Game 5 was his game. Game 5 was his game. But but a lot of the other guys just couldn't do it. They just couldn't get it off, and it showed. It showed, and it seemed as though if Wemby can't get it, then nobody can. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think, like, psychologically, they're saying to themselves, like, yo, you 6'5", we should just be able to just give you the ball and it should go in the basket automatically, right? But that wasn't the case because they figured out because the Knicks figured out the Wemby killer. But yeah, Harper was a problem. A few other guys came off the bench and did their thing, and they was pretty tough. But now let's talk about the Knicks. You already know Brunson. They figured out how to take Towns out the game because they knew Towns was going to be the Wemby killer. They knew he was going to be the Wemby killer. So like Game 4, it was like the first 40 seconds into the game and he was already 2 fouls deep. You know what I mean? And I think that's pretty much the only reason why they were blowing him out in Game 4 like that. That was the only reason they were blowing him out. You know what I mean? Yeah, the Knicks lost Game 3, but Game 4 was the legendary comeback, right? Yeah, the only reason they were blowing him out was because Towns was on the bench for as long as he was. You know what I mean? Bridges, you know what I'm saying? He played his role. You know what I'm saying? He did his thing. I don't think he took too many shots. It's the funny thing, like with teams in the finals, you know what I'm saying? Most of those teams, most teams in the finals know how to play their role. You know what I'm saying? They know how to play their role and they play their roles well. And most championship teams are like well-oiled machines. You know what I'm saying? In any sport you could think of. Like you think of some of the legendary teams. Like think of the legendary Ravens defense. You know what I'm saying? Just about every level of that defense had a Hall of Famer in it, right? But the guys who weren't Hall of Famers on that defense, you know what I mean? Like they were still Pro Bowlers. Like they were still memorable guys and they would still shut down everything type players. You know what I'm saying? And they did, like, there were no chinks in that armor. You know what I'm saying? From Ed Reed to Ray Lewis to what's his name with the braces. Yeah, from each level of that defense, there were solid role player guys. And so even if they didn't look like they were doing something, they were still doing something. And that's how most championship teams are. They're like well-oiled machines. Everybody plays their role and they play their roles well. And they make very few mistakes. That's the key. They make very few mistakes. And when their opponents make mistakes, they pay for it dearly. You know what I mean? And just about any time the Spurs turn the ball over, you know what I'm saying, the Knicks will find a way to score. Just about any time the Spurs couldn't get a defensive rebound and the Knicks got an offensive rebound, the Knicks would find a way to score. Or if not, get a free throw. You know? The big debate, the big finals MVP debate. OG, is it OG or is it Jalen? Is it OG or is it Jalen? The Knicks would not be where they are without OG. We all know that. I don't think the Knicks would be where they are without Bridges. The Knicks wouldn't be where they are without Hart. The Knicks wouldn't be where they are without Towns. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, you can't count Brunson out. Like how do you give OG the Finals MVP and not give it to Brunson, bro? Like, how does that work? How does that work?
Oh my God!
How do you do that? Like, how can you, like, in Game 5, in the last game, in the championship game, Brunson had, like, I know he had 40 plus. I could look it up. I don't feel like doing it, but I know for a fact he had 40 plus. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. And so in the finals series, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know, OG had that legendary putback. But every time it's like you get the urge to turn the TV off. All right, it's over. It's like Brunson come through with a layup. All right, turn the TV off. It's over. Brunson come through with knock down a 3-pointer. You know what I'm saying? Like, wait. What's the lead? Spurs only up by 2? What? Spurs only up by 1? What? Knicks got the lead? What? You know what I'm saying? It's like, how do you give the MVP to OG and not give it to Brunson? That's the question. But yeah, Robinson. I don't think he was the Wemby killer per se. Not to the degree that Towns was, because if you saw Towns in Game 1, you'd be like, oh shit, the Spurs are cooked, because he took Wemby completely out that game. But